our May 4th, 2020 meeting to order. Welcome to anybody out there who's joining us on YouTube Live. The first order of business, as always, is to say the Pledge of Allegiance. You can stand and do that. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next order of business is the approval of our minutes from our last regular meeting, which was on April the 20th, 2020. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Vote?
Yes.
Yes. Public comment period. We don't have any guest speakers tonight at all, do we, Chet?
No, we do not, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Public comment period in no particular order. Brookside.
Just a thank you from Brookside for the police department doing a birthday drive-by for a child in the neighborhood. And our next meeting is tomorrow night, being held virtually. I'll have more of a report in our next call.
Worthington Hills.
Same with Worthington Hills. I want to thank the police for leading a couple of birthday parades in the neighborhood. Very appreciative. Notice went out, I believe this week. The Civic Association will be hosting their annual meeting and virtually. So there'll be another reminder notice going out about that meeting as well.
Anything for Henderson Heights?
I think Andy, I already have it on the road department's agenda, so no report.
Anything else under the public comment period before we move on? Hearing nothing, we move to zoning.
The first item is actually Beth's item. So she's been intricately involved in this, as well as the chief has, about 987 Larkstone.
Oh, okay.
Take it away.
Thank you. I received, or actually Mary received through email, a complaint about high grass over at a home at Larkstone. Kind of find out the owner of the property passed away in March of 2019. That her children don't have legal authority over what to do with the property as it stands right now. So I've contacted the prosecutor's office. They're starting things into motion where the property can go to sheriff's sale. In the interim, though, as soon as that grass gets 8 inches, the neighbor had mowed the lawn. As soon as it gets up to 8 inches, I'm going to go ahead and request that the board declare it a nuisance, so at least our road troops can get in there and take care of the yard. According to the prosecutor's office, it's going to take somewhere between 6 months to a year, especially because of the COVID, for that to process through and get into sheriff's sale. But at least the ball's starting to get rolling. And the only other thing I had for zoning is we are starting to see zoning mailer went out from the township, and Mary and I have gotten an influx of calls since it started hitting mailboxes, which I think is a good thing. Thanks to Andy and Joe working through those relatively easily, getting the permits back in everyone's hands so they can get their project started. Other than that, I don't have anything else. Do you, Chet?
Yeah, I want to emphasize your thank you to Andy and Joe for kind of serving as a zoning committee to kind of work our way through some of the zoning requests that we've had recently. And just one note, we did participate in the Far Northwest Coalition of Columbus meeting last week. I believe it was the 28th. And it was regarding the property on 161 between the Lutheran Church and the State Farm office. This is a piece of property that the house was torn down, and they're looking to develop a single level office building there. We've been working with the developer on that. This is part of the Columbus agreement, the master agreement that we have been working on regarding detachment in water and sewer.
Anything else under zoning?
No, sir.
I've got a quick question from a neighbor. And if you don't know the answer to this, I appreciate it. You can just email me later. But does he need, he wants to put in like a 20 by 20 concrete pad in his backyard for a basketball, hoop area. Does he need a permit for that?
He does, Jim. And if you want to give me his information or his name, I can get in touch with him tomorrow.
Okay, I'll shoot him an email with your contact information and so he can do that.
Great, thank you.
Anything else under zoning?
No,
Road
sir.
department. Road department.
Good evening, everybody. Under old business, I wanted to just give a brush collection update. We ran the township 3 times this year, picking up 18 loads. Everything went smooth. I think social media is really getting the message out on how to stack the piles correctly. It makes it a lot easier on us, but no problems. The Davis Cemetery sign was installed last week. I plan on putting together a picture and a frame for the Daughters of the Revolution and send it to them with a thank you. I will email pictures to each one of you tomorrow just to show you the sign and the little plaque on the back of it, thanking the Daughters of the Revolution. Then on the new business, the 2020 road construction. This year, I'd like to pave Blind Brook Drive, Northway, Park Ridge, and Park Ridge Court. Do an 1.5-inch overlay or mill and overlay with the fiber mat, a SAMI, on all of these. I think the fiber mat extends the life of the asphalt quite a bit. Seems to be a good product where we have it. I'd like to continue with it. So I'm asking the board to approve the Franklin County Engineers estimate and contract at $172,151.25.
Hey, Ian, before I go ahead and make that motion, question for you. Have they seen with gas prices, have they seen asphalt pricing go down, with oil prices kind of tanking, what's that doing with asphalt?
Mark and we talked about this the other day. He said a lot of the asphalt companies have purchased their materials prior to this fall. So a lot of these prices are going to be locked in before the fallout of the fuel prices.
Okay.
He's
'Cause
having
go ahead.
He's having a lot of people come back shocked that the prices are still up comparable to what last year.
But we've always seen a reduction in the, not saying it's going to happen this year, but based on their estimate and what is reality is sometimes less than, what their estimate is.
Yes, from what I've seen in the past, when going through everything, the cost has come in quite a bit cheaper most years than
Right.
what he estimates.
Okay. All right.
So,
Anybody have any questions before I make a motion?
yeah, and just to be clear, for the streets that we're talking about, milling and paving, we're just milling the asphalt and repaving. We're not doing anything with curbs and gutters, or those are just going to stay in place as they are, correct?
They are going to stay in place. That was my next agenda item. I'm on Blind Brook Drive, and there's one area on Park Ridge. I would like to have T&T come in and do those spot repairs now instead of waiting until later. it'd be better if they did it before the new pavement went down. And
Right. Okay. Thank you, Andy.
So I don't have a question about the amount. I have a question about the process. I know last year when we did the fiber mat and that kind of thing, it was, pretty extended periods of time, or it seemed, from step to step. But when we were doing it over here in Brookside, is there any way to tighten up that process so our residents don't have those challenges this year?
well, with the fiber mat, whoever gets the contract, like last year, they subcontracted it to Strasser or
Right.
that crew. They want to get so much milled before they have that crew come in and do it. I think last year was 10,000, or it was quite a few square yards, more than 10,000, that they wanted to keep that cost down.
Mhm.
Through, because not everybody uses the fiber mat.
Right. And I get that. So maybe it just becomes then an education piece with our residents when it's time to do that, when we notify, because I think folks, once they see that work start, they're expecting it to finish within a shorter period of time than what it always does.
No, I understand that. I think last year where it threw everybody off was it was milled early because we weren't doing every street.
Mhm.
We had Estelle there paved before, they even put the fiber mat down on Darwin. And I think people saw Estelle being done and wasn't quite sure what was going on with Darwin and Winston.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think it'll probably be something that we'll want to talk to. But I will tell you, in fact, Diana and I were talking about this fiber mat. It's been one of those things that, I'll walk in the neighborhood, especially the first section that we tried it on Clubview North. There isn't a crack, and I'm going to knock on wood because as soon as I say this, but there's not a crack anywhere. And that's been typically we'll start seeing cracks even in newly paved areas, and we haven't seen a crack yet. And I'm starting to think this fiber mat is the way we should do all of our streets, because I think we're going to get a lot more. It's a little higher expense, but long term, it's going to be well worth the cost.
Hey, I got a couple quick questions. I know I don't have it in front of me, but I know we had you prepared that really nice sort of master list and prioritized sort of streets that were going to get paved. And obviously we pretty much did the bulk of it. Seems like Brookside last year. I think maybe the streets had something like a grade, like A, B, C, D. Remember that?
There's no,
Yeah.
it hasn't hurt all day, but honestly, it's been bothering me.
John, Ryan, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I'm getting a lot of.
Do these streets that are getting paved, do those fall like into the streets that are the most needy of being paved?
Yeah,
I'm sorry to interrupt. We're getting a lot of outside noise from John's iPhone. And whoever John's iPhone is, please mute. Or Beth, can you mute that person?
Beth is muted.
Did you hear my question?
I did, and I did go through. Blind Brook is on the list, is one of the streets needing attention pretty soon. It was in a poor condition. I did some adjusting this year because we want to move the concrete work from Oakbourne that was planned for this year to next year. So I went through that list and
Nice enough to get outside.
I don't know.
was the next.
Okay, well, I'll just get with you on the side on that. I got just a couple of questions, but Andy, do you want to make the motion for this?
Yeah, I'll make the motion to approve the Franklin County road estimate for $172,151.25. I so move.
I'll make a second on that motion. I didn't hear a second. All those, vote,
Yes.
Aye.
yes. Anything else under road department?
Yeah, sorry. The spot repair on Blind Brook Drive, I'd like to have T&T come and do it prior to the paving. So I'm asking the board to approve the contract with T&T for $12,600 to have them remove and replace 300 linear feet of curb and gutter.
Hey, Ian, before I make that motion, one more question for you. So I saw on their estimate, they had 300, but on the, on this, it's 311. I know it's not a whole lot, but it's about $500. Should we just make, is there,
You wanna
should
round it
we,
I over measured one of the areas on Park Ridge.
okay,
We are right at 300 with,
okay, all right. Then I will make that motion to approve T&T's estimate for $12,600 for 300 linear feet of curb and gutter.
Second.
Vote,
Yes.
yes.
thank you.
Anything else, Ian?
I don't have anything. Andy, did you want to talk about the stormwater, Mr. English?
Yeah, yeah. So we met Friday. Actually, when was it that we met? Was that Monday last week on a
Friday.
phone?
Friday.
Well,
Or
we
no.
met at the club, but we met with Franklin County
Oh,
earlier in the week. So Chet set up a meeting with the Franklin County engineer's office to kind of talk about this time of the year. We're always kind of getting, you know, with the storms, we tend to see where our storm system is having trouble. So we've kind of termed those things hot spots. So we talked with Franklin County about possibly going through, and they're already working with Ian to do videotaping. And one of the things we had talked about, you know, we've taken steps of, you know, Worthington Hills and Brooksides being as old as they are, Henderson Heights, that sort of thing, that we've kind of taken steps of like things that are on the surface, curb, gutter, asphalt, that sort of thing. What we got to kind of take the next phase is looking at what we have below the ground and starting to see where we're at, because those systems only last for so long. So we had talked with Franklin County about getting together with them and working with them to develop a plan that we can start looking at. Number one, near term, the hotspots. Why are some of these areas flooding? Some are flooding more regularly and a little bit in worse condition than what they have in the past. So those can be a variety of things. It could be things that are happening offsite, downstream and it backing up. But so what the game plan is that Franklin County is going to give us, and I didn't see an estimate. They were going to provide something to us, but did they not get anything to us?
They didn't get it yet.
Yeah, and that's fine, but we'll have to approve it in this meeting. But what we're going to do is near term, look at all the hot spots, videotape those. Ian's already done some of those areas. Then the next thing is to identify the older areas within the township, both Brookside, Worthington Hills, Henderson Heights, Larkstone, is to kind of identify those. And we're going to have to do those through plats when those neighborhoods were built. And then the last thing is ultimately we're going to have the entire township videotape, so we'll know what kind of conditions they are. The one thing that I will tell you is stormwater regulations back when these neighborhoods were built were far less than what they are now, what they require now, and that may be some of the problems that we see. But again, this isn't going to be a quick fix. It's going to be a long thing, but it's sort of the next step in terms of looking at the underground infrastructure and starting to get a handle in terms of a going forward plan on that.
Andy, I'm sorry, they sent me an estimate. I thought I had sent it on to you and Beth. I just did that. So it's in your inbox to look at. You'll be able to understand it a lot better than I would. And I think I sent it to Joe because he had asked me to look at some numbers. So I apologize. It's on me.
No, you're fine. Do we want to wait until the next meeting or would it, so we can kind of digest it and then, or is it a pretty straightforward chat? I'm still bringing it up here.
Yeah, I don't know. Is Joe, are you on the line?
I don't think he is.
Okay. Yeah, can we wait till the next meeting,
Yeah.
Andy? I want you to look at it and Joe and you guys talk and figure out if it makes sense.
Okay.
Before we shift from road, I did have a question for you. There's been a pylon at the corner of Winston Court and McVeigh West for some time. Is there a planned repair there?
Yeah, we have a catch basin that needs, the grate needs sturdied up, some concrete. Yeah, it is on the list to do here pretty
Okay.
soon.
So that should be within the next, or what? Well, weather's good this year, I'd imagine.
Yeah, well, weather's good. Here in the next couple weeks, I would say. We'll be doing.
Okay. Okay.
Anything else on the road department?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I just had asked if there was an update on the Woodview project. I know Andy went out and looked at it, and I don't know if Ian knows of any update. This is the one where the property owner lives in Columbus and wanted to use our roadway to bring some equipment on to basically tear the house down, if I recall, and rebuild it. So
I haven't heard.
The only thing I knew, Chet, was the last thing was the owner that was selling the property to the new owner, there was an option on the piece of property and he wasn't going to renew the option. So the deal may have fallen through, but I can get with Joe tomorrow morning and find out if he's heard anything from the attorney.
okay, it crossed my mind that we hadn't heard anything, so I'm sorry I put that on your plate.
No, I'll have an update for the next time, if there is one.
Okay.
That's all.
Anything else before we leave road department?
Nope. That's it. Thank you.
Fire and EMS.
Under fire, we have reports for February, March, and April from Worthington Fire. I don't know what I did there. Sorry about that. In February, we had 13 medic runs. In March, we had 16. And in April, we have had 8. So that's our fire report from Worthington, nothing from Upper Arlington.
Anything else under fire and EMS, chief?
No, that's it for fire and EMS, Jim. Under police,
Police?
we're making a transition. I'm trying to figure out a way to save some money and to free up some of our staffing time. So we're making a transition from filing our crash reports through the Department of Public Safety, which then requires us to fulfill public records requests for crashes. We're moving to Carfax. Carfax will handle all requests for public safety or for public records. All we have to do is fax the reports. They actually have a crash report module that they give us for free. We fill it out, send it to them. They file all the paperwork with the state and they handle all requests for crashes. That doesn't seem like a lot, but it's amazing the number of insurance companies that call us wanting copies of crash reports. So that'll all now be handled by Carfax, and that'll free up some of Lori's time to take care of other administrative duties. again, there's no cost to the township. I just wanted you all to be aware of that change in case somebody would ask. We'll post a link on our website on how people can obtain crash reports. And we will also, when people are involved in a crash, we will provide them a business card from Carfax. It has a link and a phone number for them to call. My next item is we have 17 CF30 and CF31 Toughbook laptops from Cruisers. They are spares. They are pretty much obsolete and have no real value other than for parts. And I shouldn't say they have no real value. They have no value to us other than for parts. So I am asking the board to declare those laptops obsolete, and I would like to put them on gov deals to try and sell them for $250 a piece. I think I'll let you know the last meeting we were able to secure a grant for $4,000, and we found some refurbished laptops that are $1,000 a piece. So we're able to get 4. If I can get $250 a piece for these old ones, I can replace all the laptops in our Cruisers without having to go to our budget and spend any money. So I would ask that those be declared obsolete so we can get them up.
I'll make a motion that we declare our old Toughbook laptop computers obsolete so they can be put up for auction.
Second?
Vote?
Yes.
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 Hey, Chief, one question. How did the hard drives on those get taken care of? So if we do have somebody purchase that, the hard drives are
They are wiped. Sergeant Blease has a process. It's a Department of Defense guidelines. It's 7 layers of wiping, and quite honestly, Andy, I don't understand what that means, but he assures me that anything that is on there is gone.
okay.
That was my question when we talked about getting rid of those. I thought we were going to have to replace the hard drives, but Mike said he can completely wipe them and they'll be fine.
Anything else, Chief?
The only other thing, I was asked about our emergency management plan. Perry Township has an emergency management plan, and it is simply Franklin County's emergency operation plan. We, along with all other municipalities and townships, simply use their plan because it keeps consistency between all jurisdictions should there be some type of disaster or event that we would need to reach out to the EMA. I think at one point I provided a copy or a link to a copy of that to you guys. If you would like to see it again, I can do that. But through this COVID issue, there was some discussion about how our plan works and do we have a plan. And I want to assure the board we have a plan in place. It is updated every year by the EMA folks. I've talked to Director Young about the need to maybe have our own exclusive plan, and he highly discouraged that for reasons that we just talked about, making sure that all the plans that everybody has throughout the county are consistent. When you begin to change your own plans, that lends to maybe some confusion and difficulty in getting resources that you might need. So I just want the board to rest assured we do have a plan in place. If anybody wants to see it, just let me know.
Anything else under police?
Chief, I have something that I need to run past you, or at least start a conversation about. There's some parents in Brookside that would like to possibly schedule kind of a drive-by processional on Sunday, May 24th to honor the seniors, since that's the day that they're supposed to graduate, which currently the district plan is a video that would be, a link would be sent to everybody. So there's some residents that are looking to possibly put that together. And I said that I would reach out to you to discuss, making sure that we had your input or your department's input in a way of doing it safely and perhaps getting an officer to start the procession or something like that.
Yeah, we'd be glad to participate in that. If whoever is setting this up, if maybe they could reach out to me so we can discuss what the route is they want to take.
Right.
Sometimes to do something like that, Michelle, we may need 1 or 2 more cars to block intersections just to get the folks through there, but we can certainly make that happen. That's not an issue.
Okay. All right. I'll reach out to you separately with their contact information.
Okay, thank you.
And Chief, just one real quick question. Hopefully you'll have some availability tomorrow. I need to chat with you about the parade committee's email.
Yeah.
Just to kind of go through that with you to have a response to them.
Yeah, Chet, I reached out to a number of different municipalities today about their plans for the 4th of July. And
Okay.
Feedback I got is everybody is either going to postpone it to later in the year, possibly to fall, or just not do it. Besides the COVID issue, there are a number of communities are talking about the economic impact of the COVID and the cost of putting on that event. Now, for us, we don't really pay for anything except for the overtime from the officers when we do the parade. But there is some economic impact to the township with the way things are headed right now. So I think we can have that discussion tomorrow, but I just wanted you to know that most of the areas around us are not going to have it. And I think you're going to see an announcement in the next week to 10 days putting that out there.
Okay. Thank you, Chief.
Before we move on to Administrator, I'd like to, I had a lengthy conversation with the Chief. I'd like to obviously thank him for the $4,000 grant that he was able to obtain. We talked about additional grant monies that are going to be available to local governments from the federal government for things that we've had to purchase for PPE type equipment and that kind of thing. So the Chief is well aware of those grants and doing things that we could potentially get some funding for that to protect our budget. And I guess just for the benefit of anybody listening at home to this meeting, or if we want to stick in the minutes, I've been just thoroughly impressed by our police department. We are fully stocked with PPE items, masks, gloves, whatever, sanitizers. I think we were way ahead of the game having all this stuff in our inventory anyway. So great job, Chief, for that. And you might want to mention, I think we've had some nice donations for some folks for some PPE, and I'd like to thank them too.
Yeah, we, if I could, I mean, we have had residents bring us gloves. We've had residents bring us sanitizer. The L Brands donated several cases of hand sanitizer to us. Savco Industries donated to us. I mean, it has just been overwhelming, the response and the generosity of Perry Township and its residents and its businesses to help us through this. We've tried to make sure we're sending out thank yous to everybody that has brought us something and has just been a real partner through this. But Mr. Roper's right. There are dollars out there that we're looking at, and it's not only for the PPEs. There are dollars out there that potentially could help us with the technology piece that we've had to purchase to go ahead and do these virtual meetings. So we're really looking hard at all those options and opportunities, and we will certainly apply for everything that's available to us and see where we go from there.
Well, great job, Chief. Thank you, and for keeping us well prepared. Moving on, Madam Administrator.
Well, thank you. I have no new business. The only thing I wanted to make mention of is that the letter for the transportation district funds was turned in to Morpsey, and everyone in our partners were notified of that, and we shared the letter with them as well. There's been no updates on the motion to intervene. I did wonder, Michelle, are there any updates on Elmwood at all? No. Okay, thank you.
Sorry, not at all.
That's fine. We're still moving forward with our change up with our IT, but that seems to be going very smoothly. Other than that, I have nothing. Thank you.
Anything else for our administrator before we move on to our last topic, which would be the fiscal officer? Michelle, you're up.
Just one item tonight, I request a motion for approval of payroll and disbursements.
So
Make
moved.
that.
Oh, go ahead,
Second.
Andy.
I'll second it.
Vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Anything else before we move to adjourn? Thank you, everybody, for another virtual meeting. And unless there's anything else, I move that we adjourn till our next meeting 2 weeks from tonight.
Second.
Vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you in
See y'all.
2 Mondays
Thank you.
from now.
Night.
Good night.